Welcome to She Rises Up podcast with Gema and Lara. We are multi-award winning international coaches, authors and speakers specialized in women's empowerment and conscious leadership for women. Here we want to empower, uplift and elevate you with conscious conversations aimed to unify femininity, business and consciousness.
Welcome, ladies, to episode 20 of the podcast She Who Rises Up with Gema and Lara. And we're still in different parts of the world here, but in Europe, still in Europe. And how are you, Gema?
I'm so excited. Episode 20, really?
That
sounds so good.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations to you too.
Congratulations, exactly. I mean, yeah. 20 is a good number, right?
It's a good number. Amazing that we've been so committed and consistent to our project, to our dream and our audience. I'm very proud of us.
That is very true. So how have you been? Where are you? What are you doing these days?
I've been great. I'm currently in my flat in Cadiz. We're renovating still the house in the countryside. We're on phase 2 after the wedding, kind of putting windows and preparing the house for the winter. And it feels pretty exciting. It was funny because when we left to start the work in the house, because obviously we have to call a builder, we just left and we came to the flat. And then that night I felt a bit sad because I knew that when we went back, it would never be the same as before. I mean, that before was living in a house without windows and in very extreme conditions, but it was so rewarding and so beautiful that it felt a bit, strange not coming back to that reality. But that's where we are. That's where we are, preparing the podcasts, focusing on that, and ready for winter.
Exactly. Well, you're not looking ready for winter. I mean, I anyway, so there's pure summertime in there for you. I mean, with the big jumper, London. Anyway, so okay, so we have a card today, and the card is called the card of protection. But before we go into the card, we don't want to lose our tradition of sharing what has been our greatest lesson or remembrance over the last couple of weeks. So Gemma, would you like to share anything?
Yeah, I love to share, apart from what I shared earlier, that what we're doing with our life. I also celebrated the first year of my mom's passing. I can't believe it's already a year, and it felt like the end of a cycle, and it was very deep because I felt that she, from wherever she is, she has been kind of looking after me. Making sure I was okay. Obviously, her biggest worry of living in this world wasn't her death, was to leave me here. She didn't want to leave me here, and I felt all these months that she's been kind of looking after me and accelerating things. And with the year, it feels like she's happy where I am right now. She sees me happy. She sees me full and complete, and she's ready to move on. So it felt like the end of a cycle, like she let me go to continue her path or her next step, her next phase in her path, whatever she is. And it felt lonely and it felt sad, but it was part of the process. And now it feels really good that she did that. And it's been really beautiful to experience that on the first anniversary of her passing.
Yeah, you've shared that with me earlier on as well, and that's and with some more the details, and that was like wow. I still would love. We haven't done it. I know that we've mentioned that before many times, and I would love us to talk at some point about death,
about conscious death. Yes,
conscious death. Yeah, because it's super powerful, especially when so many people actually are scared of death. So absolutely.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, what I have learned, it was actually a strong remembrance. And a very empowering moment, in fact, and that it's so the lesson there it was that in the way of us empowering ourselves, in the way of our own awakening, we are going to be presented with opportunities to stand up, and to set boundaries, and to have our voice heard. And what I realized in that particular scenario that I'm going to be sharing with you is that let's not forget our humanness as we are getting empowered. So this is what I wanted to share, and that was at the back of something that in this case my father was asking me to do, and which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do, and it could have been very easy for me, to say no to that. It would have been very, very easy, and to set my boundaries or whatever I needed to do at that moment. But I felt that it was kinder, in fact, not to do that. It was kinder for me not to do that with everything, that's happening. I thought, no, this is not the right time. It's not about me. It's about this other person. Uh, his well-being is more important than me.
Mhm.
I have to stand up for. And that, in fact, it was so empowering for me to have the choice, in fact, to say no to that. While so many women actually, they might not have the choice because they don't know how to stand. So the moment that we have a choice, then it becomes very easy. It becomes easy to know when it's our time and when it's actually other people's time.
That's beautiful, beautiful. And it's real empowerment when you not only think for yourself and the need to express or the need to stand out, or I'm a woman and I need to do this because otherwise, no. It's about being compassionate and know what's needed in the moment, what the other person needs and what's most important. But that's real empowerment.
Yes, exactly that. And it's very interesting because I was thinking the other day, and I may have, I posted something on Instagram where I said something along the lines that we're not getting more empowered to become more masculine.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, exactly.
To become more masculine. And here we're talking about masculine energy, right? There's so much of it already, So what we need is to tap into the feminine so we can bring more balance, So that's important. Yeah. So that was a great reminder, such a beautiful reminder, such a beautiful reminder.
Beautiful, so beautiful. And it's so true. It's empowering to be in the feminine. And being in the feminine might mean that surrender to the masculine, surrender your masculinity inside to let the feminine come out. And it doesn't mean that you are less because you surrender. On the other side, it takes a lot of humble and courage to do that in front of your own masculine. So
Yes.
mm.
So then we picked up a card, and
Okay.
the card is called the card of protection, number 24. And what we have, it's a woman, a naked woman, like cocooning in a nest, and there is this bird flying the nest. So this is how it looks like. Okay, do you want to get started?
Okay, protection. I love the subject because it's been such a huge thing in my life, and I think it is a huge thing in the world right now to feel protected, to feel safe. I believe that the media and the people who rule the world, whoever they are, use safety and protection to control us. You need to feel secure. I mean, I remember one day not long ago, I was watching TV. I never watched TV, but that day I was watching it from consciously knowing what I was watching. And I watched 4 adverts, and one after the other, 4 different products. They all mentioned the word safety one way or another, or protection one way or another, all of them. So they use that to sell us things. Because if we don't feel protected, if we feel weak, it's easier to control us. So the whole shebang, the whole control thing is built around protection and safety. And the interesting thing is that we cannot protect ourselves from anything without creating it. So if they sell us something that we need protection from, because we are protecting from that thing, we're creating more of that thing. So it's a perfect way of controlling people, because we are creating the thing that they want to create to control us ourselves by protecting ourselves from it. Having said that, of course, we need to protect our energy more than anything, and our bodies and our soul from anything. And that doesn't mean being in fear. It's not about protection from fear. It's about more than protection, probably. It's about honoring your soul, honoring your body as part of who you are, honoring your surrounding, honoring your family, honoring everything that you enjoy in this reality and everything that you are. Well, Lara was telling me earlier, I'm sure you mind me sharing how she's doing a fasting and how good she feels. Well, that's the way of protection in a way, but it's not coming from fear. It's coming from a place of honoring your body, honoring who you are, being the vessel of your soul in this reality, and wanting to be more connected to your soul. So your body, the better it feels, the more of your soul can come in. So it's a way of protection, but it's not really. It's a way of feeling better about it. So what if the world was a safe place? What if there was nothing to protect us from? What if you are the creator of that thing you fear, and also you are the creator of the need of protection? What if we change the idea of protection and being safe from the idea of being healthy, being wealthy, being happy, being at peace, being joyful, and forget about protection? Protection from what? Protection from what? We're all going to die one day or the other, and death, we will talk about it one day. Death is a beautiful process. It's not the end, it's a step forward. So protection from what? Safe from what? From what? It's about honoring the body, honoring who we are, rather than feeling the need to be protected and being in fear.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
I remember you mentioning that day, actually, when all these ads were all tackling that human emotional need that we have, which is the need of this, to feel safe, basically. And that was very interesting because I started observing it, and that was very true. That was very true. Yeah. So it's very interesting because as I was tapping into the energy of the card, and I'm like, again, what do I need? The question that I asked myself: what do I need to protect myself from who or from what? And why is the protection card coming up now for the next 2 weeks? If you choose to see the card as an oracle or as an opportunity for you to embrace for the next 2 weeks. And I would like to see it from a different perspective. So let me share different perspectives over this, where at the highest, and the way I feel it, let's see if you agree with this, Gemma, that at the highest level, I don't need any of that. At a slightly lower perspective, I would say I might need protection. And let's see what you think about this. Because if I understand, actually, there's two aspects of this. If I understand that I am the oracle, the higher and the brighter my light is, the more mosquitoes and insects I'm going to be attracting. So from that perspective, it's, so what do I want to do with that? Number one, am I aware that I'm going to be attracting, attracting things? Number two, so this is more from a metaphysical perspective, right? And because we have been heavily conditioned to believe the phrase, what you see is what you get, right? What you see is what you get. That, what is it implying? Implying is that what you see is what you get, which actually, what I mean by that is that there is not even an opportunity for people, or a lot of people, to believe in the unseen world, right? In the metaphysical world. So, or in the invisible realms. So number one, or some people that might believe in the invisible realms and the invisible world, but they're so busy in the day-to-day life that they forget to integrate it into their day-to-day life, right? So it becomes that thing that I remember when I'm meditating, or when I go on a retreat once a year or whenever. And what I believe right now, as the world stands, our energy and our attention are worth gold. In fact, I would say that are worth more than gold. And this is what I would like us to start considering, which is another dimension to what Gemma has been talking about here, that I am going to be protecting my energy and I'm going to be protecting my attention, because this is what is distracting me, and this is how I'm leaking my power away, basically, right? When I'm giving attention to something. And if you start thinking about that again from an ads perspective, when we're watching TV or when you're walking down the street, we are bombarded constantly with, people want our attention. What are the social media? I mean, what are the apps have been designed for? To get our attention constantly, right? So this is what I would like us to um to think about. And what happens is this: when there is enough energy concentrated on one subject, it's our energy that is going to be feeding that subject. Is that right? Which is very linked to what you've mentioned, Jim.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
very to that. Again, how can I number one, be aware of this situation? Number two, what can I do about it, right? So if anything, I hope that this podcast becomes like a little awakening or a little remembrance point for people to say, hey, wait a minute, who am I giving my attention to, and who is grabbing my attention unconsciously? Because again, we don't have to be experts at at mind control, or having studied NLP or hypnosis, or maybe we need to learn these things, actually thinking about it, to realize that there's a lot of that going on, and has always been like that. So there's not a new phenomena, right? And because and I'll start wrapping up this point. And because we live, and you might be thinking, so who's wanting our attention? I personally believe that there are dark entities. I believe that there is darkness out there. And of course, there is darkness out there from even a logical perspective, because we live in a world of polarity. When there is good, there is bad. Right. And so that. And then there is another point, but I'll share it after hearing your opinion on this, Gemma. What do you think, what I've shared?
Well, I love everything you said, and I totally agree that we create more of that we focus on and we put our energy on, because we are creators, whether we know it or not. We are creators, but we can choose to be creators of a wonderful reality, or we can create a reality where we are victims of the circumstances. It's your choice. But as we go up, as we grow, and as we take more consciousness in, and we become more aware, we start taking more responsibility about everything that exists in our reality. Absolutely everything, even if it feels that it comes from outside. You created that. And when you come from that empowering point of view, that you create everything in your reality, you have the ability and the power to change it. You might not be able to change, okay, there's a pandemic going on, how do I change that? Well, maybe not, but maybe you can create a reality for you where that pandemic doesn't even exist, or you don't even think about it unless you go out and, oh my God, people with wearing things on their faces, or somebody talked to you about the pandemic thing, and then you realize that the thing that we're living. You can create that for you, because we are creators of our own reality. And it's our thoughts that keep us engaged in limitation and victimization. And it's our thoughts that can create a reality that is empowering for you and your family. And whether you focus on health or lack of health, you will get that. And that's it. That's the nature of reality.
Yeah. Do you know, and I was thinking, because I would like to share as well, some ways in which, we could start getting protected, because, there are ways of doing that. And of course, like everything, it starts with awareness, awareness that, yes, we might get, we might get attacked, actually, energetically speaking, right, as well here. And we might get attacked from the places that we don't even think about, or it would never occur to us. I mean, shall I share? Okay, let me share it. Remember one time I called you, Jim. I was like, Jim, I don't know what happened. I watched this movie. My vibration has gone completely down. I have headaches. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention the name of the movie or anything like that, but I clearly saw that was designed to lower my vibration, and that was in my experience, the way I experienced it as an energetic attack there, right?
Yeah.
So we need to start being mindful as well of what is consuming our attention, what is consuming our energy. Very important to do that.
Yeah.
And now there is another way actually that I would like to express another way of this card, and that is when we look at, because when I'm looking at the card, and again there's this naked woman in her what is this called, Gemma, or is not coming in?
Nest or
Exactly, she is sitting in her nest, cocooning in her nest, and that as well, another interpretation of this card, that it's okay to cocoon. Right? Okay, in fact, it's very interesting because I know that both of us, Gemma and I, have been cocooning for a very long time, and that is part of the process, right? And the fact that the some parts of the world, because some parts of the world actually are quite does not even get there, because of the oppression that's happening. But some parts of the world are opening up now and have been quite open, and maybe we might have that desire that it's time to go out and put ourselves out there, when actually our soul or our desire is to cocoon. So don't feel forced that because the world is opening that you need to be putting yourself out there. So yeah, that the cocooning, and especially I believe that the more we are working on our awakening journey, we're going to need that. Again, don't be surprised if you, as you are waking up, or on your journey of awakening to yourself, that you feel the desire to spend time on your own, to spend time cocooning, because the cocoon is part of the growth stage, right? Before the butterfly becomes a butterfly, the butterfly is a cocoon, right? It's a caterpillar, it's cocooning there. So that's what I wanted to also share, another dimension to it, which is linked to what we've covered so far, but again, another aspect. So the question that I would like then to ask our beautiful ladies is, in a world where we are serving each other, we're serving each other all the time, whether we see it like that or not, that's a different story, but we are serving each other all the time. In a world that we're serving others, how are you serving yourself? How are you serving yourself? How are you mothering yourself? So that is another dimension, another aspect of this card that I wanted to share.
That's beautiful. I was thinking of a seed. You mentioned the caterpillar, the seed as well. It grows in the dark. It's like a little cocoon, and the plant comes to life when it goes into the dark, into the confinement, into this cocoon space where she can grow. And that's what's happening right now. We have on a era of mass awakening where people are realizing of many things, and like Lara said, we might need to cocoon, and it's an act of self-love, absolutely. And you might need to do it as protection from outside world or whatever, or as self-love, because that's exactly what you need. So rather than using it, I'm going to hide because people's energy affect me too much, or the noise affects me too much. Say that you are just going through a period of extra sensitivity and you need some extra time on your own, cocooning and hiding a little bit. And it's absolutely fine to come from that space of self-love rather than fear of the outside world or whatever it is that you are experiencing, and that makes you extra sensitive in these times of high energies. Yeah.
Wow. So the question is, how can, and then we could start wrapping up, how can our ladies start protecting themselves? Are there any tools that you'd like to share with them on the how?
Well, coming from the fact that, let's say that there is no need for protection, all you need is self-love. All we can do is being aware. And I think we always say it, being aware is is what we're here for, to be more conscious, to be more aware. What's happening to me right now? I feel this film I've been watching has affected me somehow. Okay, so let's have a look. What happened? What was your stage before the film? What were you thinking? Were you in love before? Were you being in love before you started watching this film, or being in this circumstance that sucked your energy? So let's see, and let's take this as a learning opportunity for next time. Because I mean, we're all human, right? I mean, it happened to all of us that we go out and suddenly we're judging someone for whatever they did, and that's it. The darkness caught you because you were judging rather than loving, and it happens to all of us. So we need to be aware that we are human, not enlightened. So we fall into fear at some point, fear being judgment or whatever it is. So the need of protection is to be aware of that, go back into your center, go back into your heart, analyze what happened, and just move on from that, rather than continue thinking of what happened and how to get out of that. Just continue and go back to your center and your vibration.
Do you know, I had a thought that I don't know if it's, I don't know the thought. So let me share with you to see what you think. Do you think then, based on what you've mentioned, that the ego, as we know it, is part of that dark aspect within ourselves?
Yeah, well, the ego comes because of duality. So it's the dark side of us. And when I say dark, it doesn't mean it's bad or good. It's just what it is. As long as we use the ego to identify with, then yeah,
So
all that comes is the F word. But
yeah.
So yeah, instead of identifying with the ego, we need to identify with love, making love our identity, and use the ego as a tool for being in this world, because we need it. We need the ego, we need the mind. It's not bad, but if we identify with the ego, that's where the problem comes in.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And from my perspective, well, what can I share? What can I share on the how? Yes, absolutely. I agree. Awareness, it's the beginning. If I'm not aware, then I'm not aware. I don't know what I don't know, right? And what we hope, both Gemma and I, is that with these conversations, is that we bring awareness into potential aspects or conversations that maybe you haven't been exposed to before. So if this is the case, then our job is done here. So awareness, number one. And then from a more from a tools perspective, I would say you could call upon protection as well. Call upon protection. If you want to use crystals, do use crystal. However, we're not. We need to make sure that we're not giving the crystals all the power that we become powerless, or we becoming codependents to the crystals' protection. Right.
Exactly.
The point is that we use them as tools.
Mm-hmm.
You could use you could put yourself in an invisible bubble. I do that before I teach. I do that, in fact, before I go to sleep. I protect myself from that perspective, and I do it either with white light, or I do it with my intention. My intention, white light, are the same at the end. So yeah, these are some of the things that you could do. And yes, so if you want to call upon your angels, or if you want to call upon your guides to support you, absolutely, they're there as well to support, if you believe in this, of course. We both believe, so we call upon archangels, and we call upon all the support when we have to. Yeah, again, without that doesn't mean that I'm giving away my power. It means that sometimes we need support from that perspective. And this is, these are the things.
Yeah, exactly. That's really important what you said, not to be codependent on those things. It's great to use them as we grow, as we learn. I mean, we still use them. We do sometimes, but less and less. Occasionally, when you feel a bit powerless for whatever reason. So you use them as tools, and you're aware that you're using them because you need them. But on the day-to-day basis, aim to use them less and less, and use your power instead, the power of your intention. I'm a powerful soul, I'm a powerful being, and that's it. That's all you need. I'm love, I'm made of love. And if you need a crystal, or you need a special aid, that's fine too. But let's get used to the idea that there is no need for protection. There is no need to feel unsafe. Yeah, just being love and being who we are. and being conscious that we are the creator of our own reality. So create love rather than fear.
And that is because ultimately the angels are made of the same thing that we made of. We know we're coming from the same place, right? So different dimensions, different evolutionary stages, but ultimately, absolutely. Okay, ladies, so this is it. This is it for today. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation. And as usual, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to follow our work on Instagram, on all the social media platforms, please do reach out, and we share quite often there. And if you need our support, so we're also here to have a conversation with you.
Well, I would like to invite everyone to, if you watch TV, even if you don't watch them, have a look at it. Have a look at the adverts and see what happens. See if they use the word protection or safety to sell you something. Have a look at it. Have a look at it from a conscious perspective, of course, if you feel like it. The aim of the exercise is to see how they use media to control our minds and to make us do what they want, basically. And the main tool that they use is the need in us to have the need for protection and the need to feel safe. That's what they use mainly.
Okay. So congratulations on the 20th episode. This is a wrap up for the 20th episode. We will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
See you very soon. Thank you, Lara.
That's all for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining our conversation, and we truly hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to our podcast and also share it with other fabulous ladies so they can benefit from it too. If you want to get in touch, you could find us on all major social media platforms. Speak to you very soon.